A lot has been talked about by Kenyans on the bottom-up economic model that is being promoted by the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto. Many people have asked, who are these people at the bottom that are being targeted? Our economic structure is such that it is the shape of a pyramid, with very few rich people at the top and majority of the people at the bottom who are just barely eking a living. So who are these hustlers at the bottom? The hustlers are, and this I'm using the statistics from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. It is estimated that 1.4 million Kenyans are unemployed, outright unemployed. A further 3.7 million are underemployed, meaning that a person who works as a watchman, yet they hold a degree. And the recent story that we saw of a border rider who's studying for their PhD. It is also estimated by the Kenya National Bureau of Standards that there is a further 10 million Kenyans who are in the informal sector. The Kenya National Bureau of Standards calls them unlicensed. These are the hawkers, the mkokoteni pushers, the street vendors, and those who push food carts around the city or sell their food on the street. There is also a further 2.5 million Kenyans who barely eke a living. These are the people whom we call the kibarua workers. They wake up in the morning and go to industrial area and get a daily job. They are the people who will go to the building sites and push wheelbarrows of sand and cement in order to earn a living. It is the people who go from house to house to wash clothes in order to earn a living for the day. These are the same people. In the evening, they go back to their informal settlements, and with that 200 shillings or so that they have earned that day, they will buy food in scoops. They will buy a scoop of oil from the street vendor. They will buy a bunch of vegetables from the vendor, and they will buy a scoop of flour. They will feed their families for that day, and the next day, they will wake up again and go and do a daily job to feed their family. Those are the people who live in abject poverty and are barely eking a living. In my previous video, I explained how the bottom-up economic model can be able to target and assist those hustlers at the bottom of the pyramid. I gave the example of those in the informal sector, the hawkers and the mama mbogas. Now I want to give an example of how the bottom-up economic model can be able to create employment for those millions of Kenyans who are unemployed and underemployed. The example we've always had is that manufacturing can assist in creating employment. Yes, that is possible. But the bottom-up economic model will not only focus on the huge manufacturing industries, but will ensure that those activities of manufacturing involve those who are at the bottom of the pyramid and therefore create employment for them. And I will give a simple example. Good example is Rivertex, a textile factory that is based in Uasin Gishu County. The government of Kenya rightly has invested 4 billion plus shillings into Rivertex. It has state-of-the-art machines and is very capable of producing and is producing cotton fabrics. It has created jobs, yes. Unfortunately, they have not been able to get to the bottom of the pyramid because of their reliance heavily on imported cotton, because there is insufficient cotton production in Kenya. The bottom-up economic model aims at investing in cotton production. It aims to ensure that inputs, financial support, and professional advice to farmers to grow cotton in those regions of Kenya that can grow cotton. It will ensure that those thousands of smallholder farmers are able to grow cotton and sell it to Rivertex, therefore making them self-employed and creating jobs for them and thereby creating wealth and capability to sustain their families economically. So how will the bottom-up economic model support these hustlers at the bottom of the pyramid? I will start with the example of the hawkers and the mama mbogas and the mkokoteni pushers. How will they be supported? The bottom-up economic model focuses on them and gets solutions for them to be able to undertake their trading activities and be able to earn a living. We know that all of us, myself included, from time to time, buy wares and food from these hawkers on our streets. These hawkers on our streets need to be supported and protected. Many of them are harassed by county askaris. They are treated like criminals. Their wares are confiscated. They even pay much more for their business permits. They shall be supported by the bottom-up economic model by ensuring that they are provided with secure, affordable, and convenient spaces where they can sell their wares. They do not require handouts. They require to be organized and provided for spaces to sell their products. This has happened in many big cities across the world. New York, London, Washington, D.C., you will find that those food vendors, street food vendors, are all over their cities. They are organized in strategic points and are allowed to bring what they call their food trucks or food carts, or a cart is a mkokoteni. They are allowed to bring them in convenient places in the city and are able to sell their wares in an orderly fashion and are able to earn a living and feed their families. It is the same model that the bottom-up economic approach will focus on to ensure that everybody has a right to earn a living. As a nice local example is the example of the Maasai market that has taken shape here in Nairobi. Previously, the hawkers of these Kenyan artifacts would have running battles with the county askaris. But when they were organized in a manner that they were given spaces across the city each day in a different location to be able to sell their wares in an affordable place such as a parking lot of a mall or a parking lot of a building, then they were able to actually promote their trade, and in fact, it has turned out to become a tourist attraction in Nairobi. That is a very simple example of a bottom-up economic model. It's a refocus on assisting our informal sector traders, or what the Kenya National Bureau of Standards calls the unlicensed, to be able to undertake their trade in an orderly fashion. In my previous video, I attempted to define who are these hustlers at the bottom of the economic pyramid that are being targeted by the bottom-up economic model that is being promoted by the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto. I went on to define who these hustlers are. I said, 1, they are those Kenyans who are unemployed. 2, I said it is those Kenyans who are underemployed. Kenyans who have degrees but are doing border jobs or watchman jobs. 3, I said it is those Kenyans who are in the informal sector, that is hawkers and mkokoteni pushers. And lastly, those Kenyans who undertake kibarua jobs, those who undertake daily wage jobs. And how will they be helped? And how does the bottom-up approach economic model help and assist these categories of persons? 1, a simple example is hawkers who hawk their wares on our streets. All of us, at one time or another, myself included, purchase goods and foods from hawkers on the streets. That means there is a market. Unfortunately, these hawkers are harassed and treated as criminals by county askaris. They are not allowed to earn a living, yet they are entitled to right to living. Other persons, like supermarket holders, are able to undertake their work comfortably without being harassed. One set of traders are being criminalized and another set are being protected. The bottom-up economic model is going to ensure that these hawkers are organized in an orderly fashion, that they are able to have secure, affordable, and convenient places where they can be able to undertake their trade.